Peppa Pig and the ball rolling in the wind. The ball lies still on the grass. A gentle breeze blows. The ball slowly rolls away, even though no one touches it. Peppa widens her eyes and tilts her head as she watches. Peppa walks after the ball. Without running fast, the ball rolls slowly, changing direction with the wind. George runs over and points at the ball. Just in time, Peppa catches up too. Peppa gently places her foot on the ball. Peppa gently kicks the ball over to George. George gently kicks the ball back to Peppa. Peppa kicks the ball too hard, and it flies up. Peppa and George run after the ball. Peppa hugs the ball in her arms. Peppa turns to George and smiles happily. On a lovely sunny morning, Peppa and George were playing in the park. Peppa was sitting on the swing, watching as George played happily on the slide. Peppa Pig in the flower basket. The garden in front of Peppa's house, with gentle sunshine. A small basket is placed on the grass. Peppa bends down to look at the basket and smiles. George stands beside her, curiously looking into the basket. Peppa gently picks a flower nearby. Peppa places the flower into the basket. George points to another flower. Peppa and George pick a few more small flowers. The flower basket slowly fills up. Peppa sits down and admires the flower basket. George giggles. Mommy Pig stands nearby, and all three are happy together. Peppa Pig and the Mountain of Bubbles. Today, Daddy Pig is washing the car, and Peppa and George discover lots of bubbles. Wow! Peppa and George think bubbles are amazing. Wow, look at that! A giant mountain of bubbles! Oh dear! Mummy Pig looks so funny as a bubble snowman! Playing with bubbles is fun, but playing together is the best fun of all! The mysterious gift box. Today, Peppa and George discover a pretty gift box sitting in front of their house. The box is tied with a shiny red ribbon. Peppa and George are very curious, but who could have left it there? Peppa gently taps the box. Oh, it wobbles as if something inside is dancing. George decides to sit on the box, but then it makes a funny boink, boink, boink sound, and they both burst out laughing. Suddenly, the ribbon comes loose, the lid pops open, and inside, not toys, not sweets, but a bunch of colorful balloons that float up into the sky. Peppa and George happily chase after the balloons, giggling all around the garden. What a wonderful surprise from the mysterious gift box! The Dinosaur Tunnel. Today is a beautiful day. Huh? Peppa and George discover a mysterious little door underground. Where could it lead? Without hesitation, they step inside. The glowing tunnel spins around them, leading to a whole new world. And what a surprise! Beyond the tunnel is a legendary dinosaur world, full of life, color, and excitement. Peppa and George join the fun. They ride dinosaurs, soar over rainbows, and laugh all the way through their adventure. As the sun begins to set, the tunnel disappears. But the secret of the dinosaur tunnel will always be their magical memory. Hey, football chase. Peppa kicks the ball and it rolls down the hill. Peppa and George run after it, but the ball keeps rolling faster. The ball falls into a flower bush, and Peppa crawls in to look for it. George is delighted when he sees Peppa find the ball. The two of them continue playing football in the park. Peppa and George's treasure hunt. Today is a beautiful day. Peppa finds an old treasure map under a tree. And George quickly runs over to join the adventure. The two siblings follow the first red X, splashing through puddles while carefully holding the map against the wind. In the forest, Peppa leads the way, while George points at the symbols on the map. Falling leaves swirl around them, making the journey feel even more magical. Peppa and George climb up the slippery grass hill, sliding down a bit and giggling, but still determined to reach the top. Under a big tree, they discover a small chest. Inside are old toys the two had lost before. Peppa and George happily hug their rediscovered treasure. On a lovely sunny morning, Peppa and George were playing in the park. Peppa was sitting on the swing, watching as George played happily on the slide. After having fun, Peppa and George would go home to play together. Peppa went to get the toys, and George sat nicely waiting for his sister to come back. The two siblings played together while waiting for Mommy and Daddy to come home. One morning, George wakes up and looks around his room. Toys are scattered all over the floor. Books lie in a messy pile on the desk. And the blanket and pillows are all over the bed. George he hands on, he hips, sighs, but decides he will turn a messy room into a tidy, cozy place. George starts picking up each toy, sorting them by shape and color, then placing them into different boxes. One for cars, one for stuffed animals, and one for building blocks. Each time George closes a lid, George stacks the boxes neatly against the wall. George folds his blanket carefully, smoothing out each corner. While folding, a big teddy bear hidden inside the blanket falls to the floor. George giggles, hugs the bear for a moment, then places it neatly at the head of the bed, right next to her favorite pillow. After dusting the desk and arranging the books in order, George steps back to look at the whole room. Everything is clean and tidy, the floor is clear and shiny. George lies down on the bed, opens a picture book, and enjoys the cozy feeling of George's freshly cleaned room. Peppa and George are playing with a balloon in the park. A strong gust of wind blows the balloon up into the sky. Peppa looks up at the balloon, startled. George points at the sky, following the balloon with his eyes. Peppa and Daddy Pig start running after the balloon, trying to keep up as it flies higher. Peppa and Daddy Pig run across the grassy field, their legs moving quickly. George runs behind, watching the balloon and smiling. Peppa and Daddy Pig spot the balloon caught in a tree branch. Peppa points at the tree, excited to see the balloon. Daddy Pig uses a long stick to try and reach the balloon from the tree. Peppa hops around happily. Peppa and Daddy Pig are happy to have rescued the balloon. Peppa holds the balloon in her hands, smiling. George jumps up joyfully. The pig family sits down together and continues to play in the park. The pig family arrives at a farm to try being farmers for the day. We're going to be farmers and take care of the plants, Peppa says. Everyone gets ready to start working on the farm. Peppa and George start watering the plants. I'm going to water the plants so they can grow big and strong, Peppa says. George helps his sister by watering around the garden. Peppa and George begin to pick ripe tomatoes from the garden. Look, our tomatoes are ready, Peppa says. The pig family continues to pick vegetables and put them in their baskets. After a hard day's work on the farm, the pig family sits down to enjoy the vegetables they just picked. We can eat what we've grown with our own hands, Daddy Pig says. Everyone enjoys a meal and feels proud of their hard work. After a hard day's work, the pig family sits down to rest. Being a farmer is fun, but I like playing more, Peppa says. Daddy Pig laughs and says, helping on the farm is good, but playing is fun too. The whole family laughs and feels proud of their work.
Later.
The magical cloud. Inside their little house, Peppa and George were happily playing with their teddy bears. They giggled, hugged their toys. After a while, the weather grew hot, so the two decided to go outside for some fresh air. Magically, the cloud gently scooped up Peppa and George. The two looked wide-eyed in surprise, then burst into laughter as the cloud lifted them higher and higher into the sky. Peppa and the colorful balloons. Peppa walks into the garden and sees a bunch of colorful balloons. Peppa opens her eyes wide and runs closer. George runs after her, looking curiously at the balloons. Peppa gently touches the balloons. George points at the blue balloon and smiles. Peppa gives one balloon to George. George hugs the balloon and runs around. Peppa throws a balloon into the air. Peppa and George look up, surprised. Daddy Pig comes out and sees the balloons floating high. Daddy Pig holds the balloon strings tightly. Peppa and George jump up happily. Peppa and George play together with a bunch of colorful balloons. The whole family laughs happily. Oh, it's raining so hard today. Peppa and George are standing by the window and, wow, they're thinking of an exciting adventure. Peppa can't wait any longer. She jumps outside with her umbrella. And what about George? He's following her with his little helmet. They both love playing in the puddles. Peppa jumps in every puddle, and each time the water splashes everywhere. They're laughing out loud, and it seems like the rain can't make them sad. Peppa and George keep playing in the rain without feeling cold. The rain has become their best friend. Finally, Peppa and George decide to go back inside, but they can't stop laughing. A wonderful day of rain and fun adventures has come to an end. So, no matter rain or shine, Peppa and George always know how to make everything fun. Wow! Whoa! Whoa! Peppa Pig and Tidy Up Day. Peppa and George's room. Toys are scattered all over the floor. Teddy bears, balls, and building blocks. Peppa looks around the room, a little surprised. George sits among the toys, happily playing. Mummy Pig walks in smiling. Mummy Pig hands a toy box to Peppa. Peppa picks up a teddy bear and puts it into the box. George picks up a ball, but it rolls away. Daddy Pig comes in from outside. Daddy Pig picks up the ball and hands it back to George. George smiles happily. It's a beautiful day, and Peppa and George go to the park with Daddy Pig, bringing along their colorful new kite. Daddy Pig excitedly runs as fast as he can to make the kite fly high. But Daddy Pig suddenly trips over a rock. The kite still soars up high, but then gets stuck on the statue's ear in the park. Peppa and George look up, both surprised and giggling. A strong gust of wind blows through, pulling the kite down and covering Daddy Pig's head. He stumbles around blindly, while Peppa and George burst into fits of giggles. What was supposed to be a simple trip to the park turns into an unexpected comedy show. The wind blows stronger, making the kite slip right out of Daddy Pig's hand and swirl around in the sky. Peppa and George run after it, giggling and reaching up to catch it. Daddy Pig hurries along too, but quickly becomes out of breath. Peppa Pig and the Mountain of Bubbles. Today, Mummy Pig is washing the car, and Peppa and George discover lots of bubbles. Wow, look at that! A giant mountain of bubbles. Oh dear, Daddy Pig looks so funny as a bubble snowman. Playing with bubbles is fun, but playing together is the best fun of all. One breezy afternoon, Peppa and her little brother were sitting on the swings in the garden. Suddenly, they came up with a fun idea: skateboarding. The two quickly grabbed their skateboards and ran to a tall, sloping hill. Peppa went first, zooming down with the wind whooshing past her ears. Then her brother followed, laughing with joy. They happily went for a second ride, their giggles echoing across the hill. After having so much fun, Peppa and her brother carried their skateboards back home, smiling all the way. It's a beautiful day, and Peppa and George go to the park with Daddy Pig, bringing along their colorful new kite. Daddy Pig excitedly runs as fast as he can to make the kite fly high. But Daddy Pig suddenly trips over a rock. The kite still soars up high, but then gets stuck on the statue's ear in the park. Peppa and George look up, both surprised and giggling. A strong gust of wind blows through, pulling the kite down and covering Daddy Pig's head. He stumbles around blindly, while Peppa and George burst into fits of giggles. What was supposed to be a simple trip to the park turns into an unexpected comedy show. The wind blows stronger, making the kite slip right out of Daddy Pig's hand and swirl around in the sky. Peppa and George run after it, giggling and reaching up to catch it. Daddy Pig hurries along too, but quickly becomes out of breath.
Aha!
Oh! Oh! A hot, sunny afternoon. My sister and I were talking and decided to go to the pool to beat the heat. And off they went, all excited, heading to the swimming pool. They arrived and saw their friend happily splashing in the water.
Hey! Hey! Okay, let's go!
The little sister jumped into the pool, splashing around happily, while the big sister relaxed and sunbathed on a colorful chair. One clear morning, you and I were still fast asleep. Suddenly, a friend showed up and knocked on the door. Our close friend smiled and said, Let's go for a walk, you two. Suddenly, a mysterious object began to leak. It turned the white rabbit pink.
Hey!
Luckily, the strange object managed to retrieve the leaking item just in time. As the day gently faded into night, Big Peppa and Little Peppa sat side by side, chatting softly about the stars above. While tiny stars slowly began to appear in the sky, and they were the zodiac constellations. That is the Cancer constellation, Sagittarius zodiac sign, Libra zodiac sign. Big Peppa and Little Peppa watched together. Scorpio zodiac sign, Aquarius zodiac sign, Peppa and the Flying Teddy Bear. Peppa hugs Teddy in her bedroom. George runs in with a bunch of balloons. Peppa looks at the balloons, then looks at Teddy, then gets an idea. Peppa lifts Teddy up and smiles happily. Peppa ties the balloons to Teddy. Peppa lets go to Teddy, starts to fly. Peppa and George are surprised and run after Teddy. Teddy floats up and gets stuck on a tree branch. Daddy Pig comes in, stands on a chair, and brings Teddy down.
2 hours later.
Peppa and George jump with joy. The whole family laughs happily. One clear morning, you and I were still fast asleep. Suddenly, a friend showed up and knocked on the door. Our close friend smiled and said, "Let's go for a walk, you two." Suddenly, a mysterious object began to leak. It turned the white rabbit pink. Luckily, the strange object managed to retrieve the leaking item just in time. Yahoo! One winter night, while Peppa and George are sleeping, snow begins to fall. A cold breeze wakes George up, and he calls Peppa to come outside and see the snow. The two quickly put on their warm clothes and run into the yard. To their surprise, there is a sparkling Christmas tree and a beautiful snowman. Peppa and George happily go over and build another snowman together, laughing and playing with joy. It was a beautiful sunny morning, and Peppa and George were playing in the backyard. Suddenly, George pointed up at the sky, where the stars sparkled brightly. Peppa smiled and nodded in agreement. The two quickly got ready. They put on their helmets and stepped into the shiny spaceship. The rocket blasted off, soaring through the fluffy white clouds and into the vast universe. They floated around joyfully among the stars. Peppa stopped on a bright orange planet, while George lay back on a soft pink planet, smiling as he gazed at the endless galaxy. Peppa and the small toy car. Peppa walks into the living room slowly. Peppa stops when she sees a small toy car on the floor. Peppa sits down and gently touches the car. The car rolls slowly. Peppa opens her eyes wide and smiles. Peppa places her hand behind the car. Peppa gently pushes the car forward. The car rolls across the floor. Peppa runs after the car. The car stops near George. George looks at the car curiously. George touches the car. George pushes the car back toward Peppa. Peppa catches the car with both hands. Peppa and George laugh happily.
Huh? Huh? Ha ha ha!